What's going on, everybody? Scott Hogan coming at you. We're out here at the range. We're going to go through some more ideas of what you can do with your launch monitor to help you get better. So stay tuned. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in, and today we're going to talk about an idea that actually comes directly from our winter practice plan, which you can check out at scotthogangolf.com, where we're going through ideas of what you can do to practice and build your skills and work on your game, which is what a launch monitor is really good at doing. So we want to make sure we're doing those types of things and making sure that we are getting better, because we want your investment to pay off in lower score shot. That's why you got it. So we're going to talk about a game here today, or not really even a game, it's more of a drill, I would say, but it's something that I think a lot of people don't do with their launch monitor, and that is you want to start understanding ball flights and the effect it has on key numbers, so you can use that information out on the golf course. It's really important to do this because when you're, again, out there on the course, you need to make better decisions. That's pretty much everybody. We could always make better decisions. Two, you want to have an idea of if you are in between clubs, things like that, you can actually use what we're going to talk about today and actually give yourself more options to get the ball closer to the hole. And the last thing is you're just going to have a better understanding of what affects what's going on with your ball flight. So a lot of people talk about distance, and today we're going to be talking about distance, but they'll say, hey, I'm hitting it shorter. Well, what we're doing today, you'll start seeing what's going on with ball flight that could be affecting the distance that you are having on the golf ball. So what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about curving the ball. Okay, and this is something a lot of people, I think, try to avoid because they say, all right, I'm only trying to hit it straight. Well, that's fine, but at the end of the day, if you're going to hit it straight, you better understand how curves work so that you can kind of get everything working in the right direction towards hitting straight shots. What I always tell people is we work in the Goldilocks theory, which is you have a little bit too much, a little too little, then you're just right. So let's say you're trying to hit a straight ball, but you're trying to work on swinging a little more in to out. Well, you better hit a draw, hit a little bit too much, hit a little too little, and then you're going to be able to balance it out and get it to go straight. So we want those curves in our swing because, again, it gives us another thought here and a little bit more options when we're playing on the course. And we're going to be talking about iron play, but we're also talking about the driver, any tee shot type stuff for people that are out there. We'll talk a little bit more what I mean here in a little bit. But one of the things that people don't realize is the curve I put on the ball is going to affect the distance that it goes. So I just wanted to show this to you via an example. So what I'm going to do is do a little drill here, and I grew up doing this one a lot. It's kind of a little bit old school, and it's almost a little bit taboo nowadays because everybody says you're supposed to do this a little bit differently, but I still find it highly effective. And what we're going to do is work on hitting a few draws here, and I'm going to pay attention to what that distance I hit the golf ball is. So I'm going to put my club face, I'm going to point it just a little bit right of my target, which is the biggest tree out there in the middle. And so I'm going to point the club face just slightly right of it so the ball starts there, and I'm going to have a second stick, and I'm going to be aiming my body along this second stick, okay? And so what happens is, so I'm going to get the club face along the first stick, the one closest to me. I'm going to aim my body, and I'm just going to swing along my body line and try to keep the club face pointing straight ahead. Okay? And that ball is out there. It is drawing. Decently sizable. Now, caution, not swinging 100%. My wrists are hurting a little bit today, so that doesn't matter. What I'm working on is just getting a feel for curving the ball. I can do this at a half swing. I can do this at a full swing. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so that one was hit pretty good, 131. Okay, it's also why I'm hitting off a tee, just to save my hands a little bit here. So, getting body lined up. Okay, I swung that one a little faster. Okay, there we go. So I'm set up in a little bit of that draw fashion here. Okay. And what hopefully you're going to start to see is we're working on swinging a little bit more out because my body line's so out. and the face is closed to my body line. So we're working on a little bit of that draw feel. That was a really good draw. And that one really drew, and that one went a lot farther. You can see the spin axis there was 11 left. Okay, so that's what I get distance wise. Okay, and because I'm not swinging full speed, I am going to pay attention to my club speed, 81 miles an hour, just in case I get a little faster or slower as we go. But what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to flip things around here. So I'll move the club face a little bit to the left side of that tree because I'm going to work on hitting a fade, and I'm going to switch this stick around, and I'm going to get my body line more open. I'm still going to swing along my body line, and I'm going to keep the club face pointed, or try to keep it pointed down my target line. Okay, so let's try a couple of those. That one was hit pretty good. It's actually, yeah, it's fading pretty good. And look at right there, club speed, let's just again, I actually swung that faster, 85 miles per hour, okay? But look at what it did to the distance of the golf ball. It went down to 128 carry, and I hit that one pretty good, okay? What happens is you start to fade the ball, you are going to lose distance. In most cases, there's very rare cases where people can hit it farther, but you need some very specific things to happen. And it's honestly very difficult for most people to do because of body types and things like that. But what most of the time will happen is people will cut the golf ball and they will start to see that ball gets a little bit more backspin, gets a little bit more curve into the right, and it's going to make that ball go shorter. Okay, now this is very important because I see people setting up to shots, like if there's water on the right, they point the club face at the target, they aim their body left of the water. Well, that's what I just did here, and that makes the ball fade, and then they don't get over the water. Not only is it going to curve towards the water, but it's going to come up shorter, so they're not taking enough club either. You need to know those things when you're hitting these types of shots. So I love doing this drill, especially for your if you're somebody that struggles a little bit with a slice, is get yourself set up and get yourself to see some sort of a hook or draw shape, even if you have to do it through setup, not necessarily through your swing. And if you're struggling with it, it doesn't have to be very big. It can be very little as we go. So body align, club face align, and we can just do that. Couple of things you're going to learn. One, you're going to learn some good tree shots and escape shots. But two, you're going to get a nice grasp on what curve is doing to the ball and what it does to your distances. And then all I do from here is I will just start to shrink things down a little bit. So I'm not going to point my body as far offline for the shot I'm going to hit. And then I'm going to get to somewhere that I would say is, hey, that's my gamer. That's what I would like to do. This is a little bit of an old school way to do things. It's the way I grew up doing it, and I was a very good iron player, and I was very good at curving the ball because I had a nice system. Hey, I'm going to point the club here. I'm going to point my body here, swing along my body, and that made things work really nicely because I could do that every time. But also, I got very confident understanding what that's going to do to the golf ball. If I needed a few extra yards, here we go. If I needed a few less yards, there we go. I know how to get those as we go. And as you start to shrink this down, you'll be losing less yardage with that fade, and you'll be gaining less yardage with the draw because you're just not going to have as much of it, but it'll be easier to control. So something I think a lot of people should do, experiment with hitting some curves, hit some shapes, see what's going on, and you're going to be a better iron player. You're going to be a better driver of the ball. You're going to be able to know, hey, I can carry a hazard as long as I hit this ball flight. Those types of things. You're going to have those understandings, and you're going to be shooting lower scores. So that's what we want the launch monitor to do, and I hope this helps you do that. So if you have any questions, comment down below, let me know. But appreciate everybody watching. Click the subscribe button if you're not a subscriber already, and we're going to have more helping you with your game in the launch monitor. So make sure you check those out. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.